My dad insisted that I cover $2,300 for my brother's graduation party. I refused. 2 days later, they asked me to give him my car. Again, I said no. Without hesitation, they kicked me out. A year later, karma came back around. Hey, Reddit. I always thought that when you finally start standing on your own, the world, or at least your family, would be proud of you. But I learned something different. Sometimes when you start shining, the people closest to you feel threatened, not inspired. For me, that realization hit when my dad slammed his fists down on the dining table and demanded that I pay for my younger brother's graduation celebration. Yes, his celebration, his moment, yet somehow I was expected to fund it all. I remember it clearly. I was sitting at the table, sipping lukewarm coffee before heading to work. My brother was scrolling on his phone, and my mom was wiping the counter. Everything felt normal, mundane, and quiet. Then my dad walked in with a thick envelope and a stack of papers. He dropped them in front of me, as if he were presenting evidence in court. "You're paying for the party," he stated. Not asked, not suggested. Stated. I looked up confused. "What party?" He pointed at the papers. They were quotes from catering companies, DJ services, decorations, everything my brother had apparently picked out. The total, $2,300. I blinked at it, then at my dad. "Dad, I never agreed to this." He frowned at me as if I had personally offended him. "You have a job. You earn good money. It's your responsibility to support the family." That line again, always thrown at me like a weapon. Yes, I had a job. Yes, I made decent money. But that didn't mean I had to fund unnecessary luxuries, especially when those demanding them wouldn't lift a finger themselves. I took a deep breath, calm and respectful. "Dad, I'm not paying $2,300 for a party I wasn't even consulted about." Silence. Heavy and cold. So cold it made my coffee cup shake in my hands. My brother finally looked up from his phone.
"Come on, sis.
"It's just money. Don't be so dramatic." I could feel irritation rising in me, but I held it back. "It's not just money. It's mine, and I never agreed to this." My mom chimed in then, her voice soft but guilt-laden. "Sweetheart, your brother deserves a nice party. He's worked really hard." Yes, he worked hard. I wasn't denying that. But why was I suddenly the family bank? My dad leaned forward, his voice dropping to a low, firm tone. "You will pay for this. We already told people we're throwing a big celebration." That made me freeze. They had planned everything without telling me and then expected me to pay for their choices. I pushed the papers back toward him.
"Sorry, Dad."
My answer is no. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I simply refused. And that shattered whatever illusion of family unity we had left. Dad's face turned red. Anger, disbelief, maybe even humiliation. My mom looked like she'd just witnessed a crime. My brother rolled his eyes as if I had ruined his entire life, and I quietly grabbed my bag and left for work. 2 days later, the atmosphere at home was toxic. Not tense, poisonous. Nobody spoke to me. Nobody looked at me. It was like I had suddenly become a stranger living in their house. Then came the next blow. I walked into the living room one evening to find my dad and mom sitting stiffly. My brother stood behind the sofa with his arms crossed. My dad didn't even let me sit before he spoke. "If you won't pay for the party, give your brother your car." I laughed, actually laughed because I thought it was a joke, but they were dead serious. My mom folded her arms. "He needs it more than you. He's going to college. You can take the bus to work." I stared at them in disbelief. My car wasn't a gift from them. It wasn't bought with family money. It wasn't theirs to give. It was mine, purchased with my salary, my savings, my hard work. "Absolutely not," I said firmly. "This is ridiculous." My dad stood up sharply, pointing at me like I was the problem. "Everything we've done for you, and you can't give a little back. Your brother deserves support, too." Support? Giving away my car was not support. It was sheer entitlement. I shook my head. "No, I'm not giving him my car." This time, I couldn't stay calm. I was done with the disrespect. My brother scoffed loudly. "You're so selfish."
I turned to him.
Selfish? You expect me to hand over something I worked years for just because you want it? That's selfish. Instead of understanding, they grew angrier, more agitated, more explosive. My dad finally snapped. If you won't contribute to this family, you can pack your things and leave. My heart dropped. Leave like that after everything? After working, helping, covering bills for years? I thought my mom would object. I thought she would at least try to calm him down. But she didn't. She agreed. Maybe some time away will teach you humility, she murmured. That hurt more than the threat itself. My brother didn't say a word. He just watched, silent and smug. I felt something inside me break. Not anger, not sadness, but acceptance, maybe understanding. The realization that their love had conditions, and I had finally stopped meeting those conditions. Without another word, I went to my room, grabbed my suitcase, and packed. Nobody stopped me. Nobody apologized. Nobody even peeked into my doorway. When I rolled my suitcase toward the front door, I paused, hoping anyone would call out, but nothing. Just silence. I walked out. The door clicked shut behind me, and that was it. I drove away, my car still mine, and didn't look back. A year later, life didn't magically become perfect after leaving. I struggled. I rented a tiny room. I worked extra hours. I cried some nights. But I rebuilt myself with no one but myself to lean on. And then, out of nowhere, karma decided to pay a visit to those who pushed me out. What happened was something none of them ever expected. A whole year had passed since the night I rolled my suitcase out of my parents' house, tears burning behind my eyes, refusing to let any of them see me break. In that year, life felt completely different. Not easier, not perfect, but mine, truly mine. I was living in a tiny rented room above an old bakery. The walls were thin, the window creaked, and the ceiling fan rattled like it might fall apart. But still, it was peaceful. I woke up every day knowing no one would guilt-trip me. No one would demand money. No one would expect me to fix their problems. For the first time in my life, silence didn't feel like punishment. It felt like healing. I worked extra hours, saved little by little, and even managed to buy some secondhand furniture. I went from crying myself to sleep to smiling at small joys, like the smell of fresh bread from the bakery downstairs, or watching the sunset from my little window. Slowly, I rebuilt myself. But karma was working on something else entirely. The first sign came one evening while I was slicing vegetables for dinner. My phone buzzed. It was a message from a number I hadn't seen in months, my mom. I froze, knife midair. I opened the message slowly. Can we talk? Just 3 words, but I felt the weight behind them. Part of me wanted to ignore it. Another part, the softer part, wondered what could have happened after a year of no contact. I typed back, "Is everything okay?" Her reply came quickly. "Your dad lost his job. We're having problems." I closed my eyes. That tension, that heaviness in my chest returned instantly. I responded politely, wishing them well, but I didn't offer help. Not because I was cruel, but because I remembered the look on their faces when they kicked me out, as if I meant nothing. I had changed, but some wounds were still healing. Karma arrived in full force 2 weeks later. My brother called, same brother who called me selfish, same brother who expected my car as his right. I hesitated but picked up. His voice was panicked and trembling. "Sis, I messed up." I didn't say anything. I just listened. He explained everything. After I left, my parents spent thousands on his graduation party anyway, money they didn't have. They hired caterers, rented a venue, bought decorations, the whole deal. Then college started. My brother wanted a car so badly that he took out a loan much larger than he could afford. He also started skipping classes, partying too much, spending more than he earned at his part-time job. Debt piled up. Creditors began calling. He failed 2 courses, and the college suspended him. My parents, already drowning in bills, faced another blow when my dad's company shut down unexpectedly and my mom's hours were cut. They were struggling just to pay utilities. And now they needed help, my help. For the first time in his life, my brother said something I never thought I would hear. "I'm sorry for everything. I didn't understand how hard life is. I took advantage of you. Hearing that hit me hard because it wasn't just an apology, it was an awakening. A realization he needed to learn the hard way. Karma wasn't punishing them out of cruelty. It was teaching them what entitlement blinds people from seeing. When I returned, I didn't rush back home. I didn't jump into the role of savior. But a week later, after thinking long and hard, I decided to visit, only to talk, not to fix everything. When I walked inside the house, the silence felt different. It wasn't cold or angry. It was ashamed and humbled.
My mom hugged me the moment she saw me.
My dad didn't speak at first. He just looked down, unable to meet my eyes. Then he whispered, "We were wrong. You didn't deserve what we did to you." Just hearing that made something inside me loosen, not entirely forgiving yet, but softening. We sat together in the living room where so much had gone wrong a year earlier. My brother admitted everything, his mistakes, his attitude, the way he treated me. For once, no one blamed me for anything. No one expected anything. No one demanded anything. They simply asked for a chance to rebuild our relationship, not our finances, not our old routines, just this. And that mattered more than anything money could have solved. Karma didn't ruin them. It taught them. People think karma is punishment, but sometimes it's correction. It's a mirror that shows people what they refuse to see. My family finally realized I wasn't a bank. I wasn't responsible for their decisions. I wasn't selfish for having boundaries. And I wasn't wrong for walking away. In the end, karma didn't strike to destroy them. It hit to wake them. And it woke me, too. It reminded me that I deserve respect, that my worth isn't based on what I give financially, and that love without respect isn't love. Where we stand now, we're not perfect. We're not magically the happy family we once were. But we're healing slowly, gently, honestly. My brother is working now. My dad is rebuilding his career. My mom apologized again last week and promised never to guilt-trip me again. And me? I'm stronger, independent, and clear-minded. I don't live with them, and I don't pay their bills, but I visit sometimes on my terms because family isn't about money. It's about understanding. 1 year later, karma taught all of us the lesson we were running from.